So I realized that when speaking about my first trimester, I mostly just talked about physical symptoms. I don't even know if I said I was emotional. Maybe I did, but that's a pretty common symptom for hormones to make a woman quite emotional, like a roller coaster up and down. And women are already such emotional beings, which is a beautiful thing. We get to experience feelings and emotions on such a broad spectrum, and I feel extremely blessed for that. And I realized that one major pregnancy symptom is shadow work, trauma release. And it's kind of nice that I forgot about it in the last video, because now I can make a whole video about it. So what do I mean by shadow work? Well, I would say most of the humans in this world are traumatized in one way or another. Trauma doesn't always have to be abuse or the worst of the worst, and obviously those things are trauma and they're extreme trauma. But also so many other things are traumatizing to the body, from abuse on one side of the spectrum to all kinds of light stuff that most people don't even perceive as trauma and don't even realize that the body still reacts and stores it as trauma. And so that's how a lot of people get more tense and potentially sick, have physical symptoms and so on, because they don't even realize that their whole body is just full of trauma. I just want to make clear that everyone can be traumatized. It doesn't have to mean that you've been abused. But unfortunately, a lot of people have been abused in this world. We currently live in a world that has a lot of suffering and abuse in it, and most women have experienced sexual assault or worse, and a lot of men too. And I mean, there's just layers upon layers of potential trauma that people experience. So there's always situations in life where trauma wants to be released. There's a lot of ways to release trauma and shadows and patterns. And for example, doing yoga or meditation or working out, dancing, moving the body in any way will start to release trauma. So that's why a lot of people actually, when they start doing yoga, start crying each session and they don't even know why they're crying. That was the case with me when I first started yoga years ago. Every single class I was bawling my eyes out, and it was just years upon years trauma stored inside me, pouring out of my bones and my deep tissues. Anyways, pregnancy is also a beautiful way for trauma to release, for shadow work to come up. So one of the major symptoms in my first trimester was having to face my shadows, some big shadows. And it's not even what I talked about in the last video, the emetophobia. That is also shadow work that I'm working on, but a lot of other stuff came up, so I want to talk about it. My fridge just turned on. I think that might be too loud on video, so I'm gonna change locations. Okay, so now I am on my deck in front of my washer and dryer storage. And those beautiful rays of light are from the sun peeking through, so I kind of love this. But let me continue. Hopefully I will not have too many allergic sneezes. let's give it a try. Okay, so in my first trimester, I pretty quickly, actually, week 5, probably week 5 or 6, a lot of old wounds ripped back open, things that I thought I had healed a long time ago. Obviously I wasn't surprised. This happens all the time. You know, old wounds rip open depending on what happens in your life. And of course pregnancy will do that too, because pregnancy is such a beautiful, powerful change in a woman's life and in the partner's life as well. So yeah, just another beautiful opportunity to bring up things that should be looked at before a new soul arrives in this world. So that's my first point here. Anybody who is pregnant or wants to be pregnant, or not even pregnancy at all, but if you do anything in life and you feel old wounds ripping open again, or you feel things come up that you've never dealt with, allow it to happen. Let it in, allow it to happen. Welcome it into your life. Even if it's hard, even if it's scary, just allow it to come up and take a good look at it. So for me, I started pushing away my partner, and I realized that, well, when I grew up, I never had a stable, reliable father figure. I love my dad. We are in contact today, and you know, I have forgiven every person in my life that has ever treated me unwell or has caused any sort of suffering, because I recognize that hurt people, and it's completely pointless to be mad at people that have made you suffer, because they won't be able to heal their hurt if anger comes their way. Of course, it takes a while to heal from things. So also me, I went through years of anger and sadness and mental illness even, that I can talk about in another video, and it's been a huge journey. But the end goal is to forgive and let go, to free yourself out of your prison, to let go and to allow to release others' grab onto you, your body and your soul and your mind. So I have forgiven everyone in my life, and I love my dad. But when I was a child, he was not a reliable, stable figure in my life. And obviously I had a lot of daddy issues, dad trauma, like so many people. It is very common. And you know, most dads have immense trauma and issues that they haven't been able to work through. Males, men in this lifetime are not allowed to show emotions and feel deeply and to show that they're suffering. So how can they even heal if they can't even show the sadness and the anger and the suffering? You know, it's just a cycle, and it's a ripple effect. So I thought that I had healed from this a long time ago. But here I am, pregnant, and pushing my partner away. All of a sudden, not trusting him anymore, even though I trust my partner deeply. But suddenly I didn't trust him anymore, and I thought, he's gonna leave me, everything is gonna go to shit. And I realized, wow, this comes from my old wounds being ripped open, that I have a deep mistrust in men to be able to care for their children and to be able to be there for their families and to be stable providers and safety nets for the women, the moms, the children. And yeah, that came right back into my life. And it took a few weeks for my partner and I to work through that. And it definitely took some extreme anger on my side and releasing emotions and basically raging too, letting that out. You have so much stored inside your bones and you need to release that, whether it's through rage or dancing or screaming or singing. There has to be a way for you to physically release the trauma. So that occurred over a few weeks, and luckily I have a beautiful patient partner who has been working on his masculine and healing his masculine and healing his own emotions and what he's been through for years and years. He is very aware and he's very good at showing emotions and moving through them. So I'm very lucky. And so we were able to work through it. But it is very important to allow whatever comes up for you anytime in life, but especially in pregnancy, to let it come up, to feel it and to sit with it and to dive into the feelings and emotion and see where is this coming from instead of running away from it, because this is your chance to heal deep wounds and patterns so you don't have to bring those patterns to your child. So we want to create new generations that are healed, that are feeling better, that are not having to experience what we experience. So let's have all of this come up and work through it. And for that, you got to look at it. Oh, there might be mosquitoes here trying to get me. Let's keep going. So it's a purification process. So many things in life are purification processes that we can take a hold of and utilize to heal ourselves over the years, over time, and become better people, to become emotionally regulated, to become stable and safe, and to be able to be better parents for the future, for our future children, so that we can have generations that feel healthy and stable enough to help this world. We need to help this Mother Earth. And I mean, there's so much shit happening in this world. It's insane. So many people, most people are just so sick, physically and mentally. And, we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it. And step number 1 is have everything come up and sit with it and do not run away. Do not run away, because that's how you get sick. That's how you get sicker, physically and mentally. You know, let insecurities come up. In partnership, in pregnancy, in anything you do in life, insecurities will arise, and it's a beautiful thing. Instead of blaming your partner, your friend, your child, the world on the insecurities that you're feeling, blame yourself. Sit there, look at yourself and wonder, where is this coming from? For example, jealousy. Jealousy comes from being insecure. So the easy way out is to be jealous and to yell at other people, to finger point, to put other people into a box, to force them to be the way you want them to be, so you don't have to deal with this icky feeling of jealousy. But the way to get out of this prison is to instead sit with this icky feeling of jealousy and to wonder, where's this really coming from? Why am I jealous? What insecurities are arising? What do I feel? Do I feel less than? Do I feel worthless? Am I intimidated by this other person? Just an example. So let your insecurities come up. Don't run away from them. And stop blaming others. Blame yourself. And blaming yourself is not a bad thing. It is taking responsibility for your experience and setting yourself free in the process, and setting others free as well, to be able to look at you and be impressed by the strength, and it inspires other people to also do this. And if you're surrounded by people that are not willing or able, or simply refusing to do this, even after months and years of being a good role model, some people just aren't ready. Well, you gotta move on and upgrade, and you will already most likely attract people anyways that are reflecting you. So well, and then surrender. So surrender to all of your emotions, surrender to what is coming up. Again, don't fight it, and just surrender and accept. Surrender and accept. It's the way to go with everything in life and birth. Surrender. Surrender to the pain, surrender to the bliss, surrender to it all. Just surrender. Surrender and trust your primal self. So that means your intuition. Unfortunately, most of us are not very connected to our intuition because we haven't been able, or we haven't learned how to listen to our gut, to our intuition. Or it keeps trying to speak to us over and over and again, but we keep ignoring it because we have lost trust into our primal bodily intuition, and the intuition from the soul too. So find your way back to your intuition, connect with your intuition. You can get there through all the practices I've already talked about beforehand, and by really just listening and not running away, you will start to hear your intuition again, and it will speak to you, and so then you can hear it and trust it. Oftentimes your intuition tells you something, and if you just trust it, you will be completely fine, especially in this world where everybody's trying to tell you something. There's a lot of fear mongering, especially in the pregnancy and birth realm. And you as a mother, have an incredible intuition and an incredible connection to your child if you listen deeply. And you know best if you are okay and if your child is okay. And you know best what you need. So trust again and listen. Also, don't pathologize every single sensation you feel. A lot of things are just normal. Being on this journey of pregnancy and birth is extremely wild, and we don't always have to pathologize everything and make it fearful and medical. We can move through most of the things we experience with our intuition once again. You will know exactly when something is wrong, and you will also know when the things that are supposedly wrong are not really wrong. It's just all these voices from everywhere coming, trying to eat their way into your brain. Trust your innate wisdom, trust your natural intelligence. Your body is so incredibly intelligent. If your body is capable of growing a human inside from a seed, and we have done this for centuries, we can't even fully comprehend what happens and how it all happens. We can only try to understand. There's so much magic that we don't even know about, but we just know it's there because life is magical. Growing a child is magical. Birth is magical. And if we understand these things and we learn to listen again, you will understand your own magic, and it's just a beautiful feeling to feel at peace and to know that everything is okay, even if things aren't okay. Yeah, and all of this has to do with allowing the shadows to surface, old wounds to rip open, trauma to come out of your bones, and to not run away, to face the shadows in your pregnancy and in life in general, but especially in pregnancy. So we may become the most stable and safe human beings and parents we can be for this next generation, because these innocent little beings deserve our stability and safety, and they deserve that we work on ourselves. So yeah, very important pregnancy symptom is shadow work. So let it come up and roll with it, flow with it. That's it from me. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you're feeling great, and if you're not feeling great, I hope you are healing and listening, and I wish you all the best. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.